morning.
ॐ
Om
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे
आचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे
गुरुपरम्पराम्
गुरुपरम्पराम्
ॐ
ॐ
सहनाववतु
सहनावतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह
सहनौनक्तु
वीर्यं
सह वीर्यम्
करवावहै
करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
विद्विषावहै
मा विद्विषावहै
ॐ शान्तिः
ॐ
शान्तिः
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
शान्तिः Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya, good morning.
Om Namah Shivaya.
So, we are on which verse now? Number 5?
Number 4.
Number 4? I thought we did 4. Yes.
No.
Are you sure?
We did up to 3.
So, let us look at verse number 4. Shri Bhagavan Uvata
Shri
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Yajante Yajante Satvika Devan
यजन्ते सात्विका देवान्
Yaksharaksham Rajasaha
यक्षरक्षांसि राजसा
Pretan Bhutaganamshchanye
प्रेतान्
Yajante Tamasa Janaha
यजन्ते तामसा जनाः
So Satvikaha Devan Yajante. The Satvika people, they worship the gods. Yakshakshamsi Rajasaha. So Yakshas and Rakshasas. They are Rajasic. So the Rajasic people, they worship the Yakshas and Rakshasas. And Tamasa Janaha, the Tamasic people, they Anye Pretan Cha Bhutagana Yajante. Very simple Sanskrit. I think all of you are able to understand. The Tamasic people, they worship who? The Pretan and the Bhutagana. So very roughly you can translate as ghosts and spirits. So he's talking about the Shraddha. And Shraddha is a very big word. It's a very huge word. It can't simply be translated as faith or devotion. It is an attitude, right? It's invisible. And when you look at somebody, you are not able to make out whether the Shraddha that he has is going to be Rajasic, Sattvic, or Tamasic, right? Because it is not Pratyaksha Gocharam. And what is not Pratyaksha Gocharam has to be inferred. You cannot use Pratyaksha Pramanam to know what type of faith the person in front of you has. And therefore, you will have to infer the type of activity. Anumanam has to be used. So if you want to know what sort of faith I have, what will you do? You will generally look at my lifestyle. What books does this chap read? What is the friends that he has? What type of foods he likes? What type of entertainment he likes? How does he spend free time? Whether he goes to a temple or he goes to a bar, all these are indicators. So everything, to use Taraka Shastra language, everything can be used as a hetu to derive the sadhyam. Everything can be used as an indicator, hetu, to understand the sadhyam, the objective, which is what type of faith he has. And Krishna wants to say that you can tell from the type of worship also. What faith he has, you can tell from the type of worship. So, puja. Even from puja, you can find out what type of shraddha the person has. In every puja, there are three factors. What are they? When you do puja, there are three things, basic things. I'm not talking about the instruments and all that. What would you think they are?
The Sankalpa.
Okay, one.
Which deity? The kind of deity.
The deity, the devata, two, and
Focus.
yes. Can you just reword that? Okay. Anyway, you're all Uttama Adhikaris, okay? So devata is the first one, the object of your puja. What is the way in which you worship? Prakaraha, mode of worship is the second one. And the third one is the sankalpa, the bhavana. What is the reason? What is the expected phalam of the worship? And if you take these three things together, you will be able to decide when you're looking at, let us say, somebody in your family doing that. And if you are able to focus on who is the devata, which is the devata which is worshipping, what is the mode of his worship, and what is the phalam that he expects, what is the sankalpa. With these three things, you will be able to figure out whether the puja is sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Okay, now in our tradition, you can do puja to how many gods? Infinite number of gods. Okay, so this is a problem with most people who are not familiar with India. So when they say, oh, you Hindus have got 1,000 gods, a million gods. How can you say there is only one God? How can you say there is, because you yourself are worshipping so many gods, right? So what is the answer you should give such a person?
These are all the
Only
different.
Namarupa.
These
Yeah.
are all different. These are all different forms.
Yeah, only Namarupa.
They only Namarupa. So when I wanted to buy my wife, let us say, a phone, she wanted a new phone, okay. What is the wise thing for me to do? To go to the shop next door, which is only a Lenovo shop, or to go to the mall where you got a Samsung, Apple, Lenovo, Micromax, Sony, whatnot? Where should you go?
Which is variety, so she can choose which
Can
one
choose,
suits her
right?
the best.
So it's a supermarket. And therefore, in India, there is a Devata supermarket. You can choose animal gods, you can choose half animal, half man, you can choose man god, you can choose woman god, you can choose man to man mixture, man to woman mixture. Everything you can choose. Everything is available for you because it depends upon your own uh, composition. In which way your gunas are there present in your body, that kind of a god you will choose. And therefore, all the gods can be divided into three: Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika Devata. So, this is what Krishna is talking about. Sattvika Devatas are those Devatas whom you will worship for what? For inner strength, for spiritual growth, and so on. And some common names Rama, Krishna, Ganesha, all Sattvika Devatas. It's a very important idea, okay, because when you are worshipping for spiritual growth and inner strength and Chitta Shuddhi and all that, you are worshipping Rama, Krishna, Ganesha, all are Sattvic deities. On the other hand, the Rajasika Devatas, this is a very important point. A lot of misunderstanding might happen. Rajasika Devatas, you worship for materialistic well-being, for more money, etc. And therefore you have, let us say, Kubera. Kubera is the Lord of Wealth. You have Yakshaha, you have Gandharvaha. All these are all these are the gods which bless you with material well-being. Right? So if you are worshipping Krishna, who is a Sattvika Devata, for material well-being, Krishna may be a Sattvika Devata. What kind of worshipper are you? So these things we need to understand. It is not only the God, it is the way of your worship. That is why we said three things: deity, mode of worship, and required phala. And then there are tamasika devatas like pretaha, bhutaha, pishachaha. I believe in some places there's something called Dhakini also. Okay. All are representing evil forces, negative forces, what in English we know as black magic. So all ghosts, spirits, etc., they represent negative forces. They cannot be used for spiritual growth. And they are used for what? Harming other people. And therefore here Krishna says, Satvikaha, people who are predominantly Satvikas, Devan Yajante. They worship the gods, Devatas. And what do they ask for? So in his commentary, Shankara writes, Annapurne Sadapurne Shankara Prana Vallabhe Janan Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati. Have you heard this before?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Annapurna
Yeah,
Stotram.
yeah.
Part of the Annapurna Stotram.
Annapurne Sadapurne, oh Mother Annapurna, and Shankara Pranaha. Shankara Pranaha means who is Shankara's favorite. So you are telling Annapurna Mother, Mataji, you are also Shankara's favorite, and you are my favorite. So Shankara Prana Vallabhe, you are my favorite also. So please bless me with what? Bhiksham, food of what? Vairagyam and Jnanam. So give me the food which will create vairagyam in me. And because of the vairagyam, I will be a jnani also. That is the phalam. That is the sankalpa for worshipping the devata. So when you worship Krishna, this is what you should ask for. Vairagyam and jnanam. Then, so rakshasaha yaksha rakshamsi yajante. So Rasic people means people with a lot of uh, requirements, they want a lot of material growth. And we are not saying they are not religious because they are worshipping, they are also religious, but they are very strongly people who have material goals. And therefore, they will worship yakshas and rakshasas for the purpose of getting the material benefits. And tamasaha janaha anye means other deities other than the first two, which are pretan, bhutan. They represent negative forces, which will come under what we call, in our tradition, we call it abhicharika karma, means worship which is meant under the category of black magic. And how do you do this? I don't know if you've seen. Now I don't know if it's still there, but there used to go to the cremation ground, right? And these are people, not we. These are people go to the cremation ground, and the oblations are flesh and blood. They drink from skulls and what. And usually the puja time is midnight, right? And interestingly, what is the alambanam for this? The alambanam is the place in which you invoke the Lord. What is alambanam when you do? I'm not saying you guys do, okay? None of us do. But a person who's a tamasa janaha, when he goes to the cremation ground and when he is invoking the tamasic deities, Pretan, Bhutan, etc., what is the alambanam? What does he invoke on? You not seen any old movies?
On himself.
No. In the old movies, he's holding the skull in his hand.
The
Right?
skull.
Skull is the Alamana.
Acha.
Okay. Anyway, so that's only if you see movies. At least you must have seen some movies in your old days, in your young age. Okay, now Shankara doesn't comment on Preta and all that. Okay, but another commentator whom we are familiar with, Sudana Saraswati, he gives a very interesting comment. He says, Pretaha are those Brahmins or Kshatriyas who have failed in Nitya Karma in the previous life. Okay. And because they did not do Nitya Naimitya Karma in their previous life, in this life, what happens? Because of the Pratyavaya Papam, they get bodies which have uh, a shape like Vayu. Vayu means a fluid shape. And therefore they can fly. And then he gives them a name. Who gives them a name? Madhusudana Saraswati says, such pretans are Ulkamukha. Ulkamukha means a mouth which is like blazing fire. So if you want a definition of pretan, it is available in Madhusudana Saraswati's commentary on 17th chapter. What is the commentary called?
Gudartha Deepika.
Artha Deepika. It's always useful to, look at these commentaries because, if you have the time, of course. Yeah. Then, Shankara defines Bhutaganan. So, Pretan is not defined by Shankara, but he defines Bhutaganan. So, Bhutaganan he says, they are Sapta Matra. Okay, now it's a very cryptic definition. Bhutaganan is equal to Sapta Matra. Sapta Matra means what? 7 mothers. He does not explain further. What are the 7 mothers? We have not heard, right? So sub-commentators say, Rahi Maheshwari Chaiva, Kaumari Vaishnavi Tata, Varahi Chaiva Mahendrihi, Chamunda Saptamatraha. These are 6, 7 names. So we'll not go more into all that. If you want, I'll put the verse up later with the translation. Okay. So another, thing we should note is that out of these deities, Shankara doesn't say all are tamasika. In fact, many are nowadays worshipped as sattvika deities also. This we should know. And therefore, Shankara introduces the next verse in his commentary saying that the sattvika shraddha, so he called it sattvadi nishtha. Nishtha meaning the commitment. The sattvika shraddha of a person is determined by the actions of worshipping a sattvika deity. Why is this so? Because Shastra Vidutsrajya, it Shastra Vidyutsargehe, since it is mentioned in Shastra Vidhi. So Utsargehe, Shastra Vidhi Utsargehe, he says. And Utsargehe can mean rejection, ignoring, because we have seen this earlier. In which verse? You can't have forgotten. We're only 2 verses away.
Shastra Vidhi Mutsrijya.
That's in the first
The
verse,
first
right?
verse.
We took it as the person who has rejected Shastra. But here, Utsarga remember has more than one meaning. But here, it means exactly the opposite. In this commentary of Shankara, it means exactly the opposite. It means as provided for in Shastra. So, final meaning is that Shastra itself indicates that those people who do puja in the manner provided for by Shastram have got Sattvika Shraddha. And Shankara says, among thousands of people who do Sattvika Puja, there are some people, among thousands of people, only very few people do Sattvika Puja. And then he says, therefore, The people who do Nitya Naimitika Karma, Panchamahayagya, all these are Sattvika people. But among thousands, only very, very few do it. And he says, and the others, if you take any group of people, large group of people, there are few people who do Sattvika Karma, but others are predominantly engaged in Rajasika and Tamasika Karma. And Katham, why? He wants to know why. So he says, Krishna himself has given the answer. So we will read the next verse, the fifth verse. So please unmute yourself. Ashastra vihitam ghoram
शास्त्रविहितं घोरं
tapyante ye tapojanaha
तप्यन्त्यन्ते ये तपोजनाः
dambhahankara sanyukta
दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः
kamaragabalanvitaha.
कामरागबलान्विताः
So, ye janaha, where is that first line? Ye janaha, those people, tapyante, who practice ghora tapyante, ghoram tapam, who practice ghoram tapam, severe austerity, terrible austerities. So that's what it means. Ye janaha tapyante ghoram tapam. You have to rearrange the whole thing in the first line. These people who practice very terrible austerities. And what are they? Ashastra Vetam. Not Shastra Vetam. Shastra Vetam. The is negating Shastra Vetam, which are not prescribed by Shastra. And not only that, why do they practice? Damba, Ahankara, Sanyuktaha. Sanyuktaha means attached to or possessed of Dambaha and Ahankaraha. So Dambaha we saw is pretension. Ahankara is ego. And not only that, Kama Raga Bala Anvitaha. They are bound by Kamaha and Raga. Bala Anvitaha, strongly bound by Kamaha and Ragaha. So he's talking about Tamasika worshippers. Ashastra Vitam, in violation of Shastric injunctions. So very clear indication that Tamasic worship involves going against Shastric rules. And you can also think of it as what is known as Andhashraddha. Andhashraddha is blind Shraddha. Right? Blind Shraddha means I don't know what Shastram says, but I have to have certain rules for my puja. So in accordance with my own guna mix-up, I make up my own rules as I do puja. And then because I have made up the rules, my family thinks those are the rules and they also follow all that. Right? So there is a story, which SPG says. So there was a family. There was a family in which, the family had two kids and the mother, father, and their family also had a dog. Okay. Now, they did puja every day. The whole family together would do puja every day in the morning. And they didn't want the dog to come in and disturb the puja. So every day, when they did the puja, first thing they would do is they would go and tie up the dog in the veranda. Right? And then do the puja. The son grew up, right? And the son grew up. And of course, these two, slowly, these parents also passed away. And the dog died. But the son continued to do the puja. But when the dog died, what did he do? He went and purchased another dog, even though he did not like dogs. What was the reasoning?
He
You
thought
need
that
a
a
dog
dog has
during
to
the
be
puja.
tied.
He
before
thought
starting the
tying up
puja.
a dog was part of the ritual, part of the rules. Right. So nobody explained to him. His parents didn't explain to him that we have a dog and we don't want him to disturb. But this poor fellow, for 25 years, he observed the dog being tied, and therefore he decided that you have to have a dog and you have to tie him up before you do the puja. So a Shastra Veda. He doesn't know, right? So how can I do puja without tying up my dog? Which was never the intent of Shastra anyway. So this is what is tamasic brains. And then Krishna says, Ghoram Janaha Tapyante. These people, they do terrible austerities. And Shankara defines Ghoram. He says, Pidakaram Praninam Atmanascha, involving terrible pain for themselves and others. And if you have gone to Rishikesh or any of these holy places, have you seen people who have, put a needle through their cheeks, put hooks over their bodies, tie up some, or the eyelid you tie something up? Have you seen these sort of people?
Yes, in
What,
Kumbh Melas and all also.
what did you
Yeah.
think about them?
Some belief or some
Where did it come from?
ritual.
Because here Krishna says very carefully, very clearly, Krishna says, involving terrible pain for yourself and others, of course. So all tamasic rituals. In fact, in the Puranas also, you will find that there is a person who cuts off his tongue and offers it to the Lord, cuts off his nose and offers it to the Lord. Puranas also have taken these things to these kind of stories. But the ones who tell you these stories, they should know the background. That these stories are not for glorifying that process of cutting off your nose, but for telling you that this is Ghoram Tapam, not envisaged by scriptures. In fact, scripture will never encourage you to hurt yourself or anybody else. Right? So this is Tamasika Shraddha. Then comes Rajasika Shraddha. And he says Damba Ahankara Sanyuktaha. So Dambaha means pretension. We have seen these two words in 2 chapters. So Dambaha means, that pretension that, oh, I am a great sadhaka and therefore everybody needs to know. It's a need for publicity, right? So you should remember the verses from chapter 13 and chapter 16, both of which talk about Damba and Ahankaraha. Then Kama Raga Bala Anvitaha. So the person is completely bound by the force generated by Kama and Raga. This is at the mental level, right? And Shankara says it can also be physical strength. So that Kama, Raga, the breakup is in 2 ways. I mean, if you look at the word, Kama, Raga, Balanvitaha. If you take it that breakup, what does it mean? Balanvitaha, bound by the strong force of Kama and Raga. Shankara says, why don't you also, he gives second meaning. He says that you can also break it up differently. Kama, Raga, Bala, and Mita. Can you know the difference? One is Kama, Raga, Balanvitaha. Balanvitaha is taken as bound by the force of Kama, Raga. Kama, Raga, Bala, Anvitaha is taken as endowed with, Anvita is endowed with Kama, Raga, and Balam. What is the difference? No?
Balam is one more attribute, I suppose.
Yes. So he says, Anvita, this person has got Kama, Raga, and Balam, physical strength. Two different meanings. Both are okay, right? So you can be very ritualistic. A person can be extremely religious without any spirituality in it. Like, for example, the Rakshasas of the old days, they were very religious. So you can be a materialistic religious person, or you can be a spiritual religious person like Vedantins. Vedantins are religious, but they are spiritual. Big difference. Okay. Now let us look at the sixth mantra. We will chant. Karshyanta sharirastham
Karshyanta sharirastham
शरीरस्थम्
bhutagramamachetasah
bhutagramamachetasah
mam chaivanta sharirastham
मां
sharirastham
चैवान्तशरीरस्थम्
tan vidhyasura nischyan
tan
तान्
vidyasura nishchayan.
विद्यासुरनिश्चयान्.
So here, most of these words you should lead like Urdu from right to left or from right to left. What is the first one? Achetasaha. These indiscriminate people, these people with no intellect. What do they do? Bhuta Gramam Sharirastham. The Sharirastham is situated in the body. Bhuta Gramam can be taken as the uh, village of organs. Okay, so the totality of all the organs in the body. Bhuta Gramam Harirastha means the organ situated in the body. What do they do? Karshayantaha. They torture it, they torment it. And not only they torment the organs in the body, Krishna makes a very beautiful statement. Mam Chaivantaha. Mam, Mam Eva, me also, who is where? Anta Sharirastha, who is inside the body. They torment not only the body, they are tormenting me who is inside the body. And therefore, Tan Vidhi, you should know that such people, Asura Nischaya, are of a Asuric state of mind. So he is talking about tapas, which is inappropriate, which has never been sanctioned by Shastra. Tapas is necessary. Why do we do tapas? What is the reason why Shastra says that you should do tapas?
For spiritual growth.
To build titiksha, resilience,
Control of the
and
senses.
Discipline.
Fair enough. So that your willpower is strengthened. So if you are eating, if your habit is, let us say, 7 coffees in a week, tapas will start with saying that on Sundays I won't drink coffee. Is that tapas? Would you consider tapas or not?
Yeah, it's a first step in that direction, perhaps.
This is the first
Yes.
step. So then you can say after some time that next week I will not drink from Wednesdays and Sundays, and so on. Right? What happens is that you who were a slave to that coffee, and whenever you saw coffee you want to drink, now you will say that I will drink coffee, yes, but when I want. And therefore you have broken the habit. The willpower has been strengthened. That is the purpose of tapas, to enable you to say no to anything, to any temptation. And therefore tapas should always be appropriate, moderate. It should never cause any damage to your health. That's the first idea. And therefore he says karshantaha. Karshantaha literally means krishi kurvantaha. Krishi means lean, weakening the body. So karshantaha means tormenting the body, weakening the body, and along with the body, bhuta kramam. Bhutagramam can mean anything. So Shankara says Karana Samudayam, the group of Karanams. Karanams, Indriyas, all the organs. Heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas, whatever you've got. Where are they? Sharirastham, which are in the body. And by torturing the body, obviously they are torturing or weakening or harming the organs also by achetasaha, because they do not know the purpose of the tapas. Right? So by now we have a very clear idea that the body is a gift from the Lord. And while I need not pamper the body, I should definitely not torture the body also. Right? So torturing the body, causing physical pain is not the aim of tapas as Shastra wants us to do. Shastra in prescribing tapas wants you to master the body. Right? So all of us do it. Ekadashi Upvasa. Ekadashi Upvasa is good. A 1 day Upvas is good. But fasting for 11 days together, you are harming the body. Right? 1 day's Maunam is good. But I know people who have said that I have taken 10 years of Maunam, 20 years of Maunam. I didn't speak for 15 years. It doesn't serve any spiritual purpose. And not only that, you're insulting the Lord, right? He has given you that mouth for what? To talk, to communicate. And I'm not saying talk unnecessarily, or at least chant. He has given the mouth to do chanting, to Bhagavad Gita chanting, to Parayana. And by not using that and by shutting my mouth for 15 years, what am I telling the Lord? What is the message that I'm giving the Lord? I'm saying, hey, Bhagavan, I don't need a human birth in my next life. So you will probably not get one, or you'll probably be born dumb. So remember that, convey the correct message to the Lord. Don't misuse what He has given us. In this life, nothing can be done without your body. Even to drink tea in the morning, you have to get up using your body. You have to use the mouth. You have to use the hands to make the tea. You have to use the mouth to drink the tea. In fact, there is a story, like we have seen this story before. Parvati, when she was not Shiva's wife, she decided that she wanted Lord Shiva for wife, for husband, right? What did Parvati do to get Lord Shiva for husband? What does the story say? No? Come on, guys. You haven't seen in the movie, in the TV or serials or what? What does Parvati do to acquire Lord Shiva as a husband? What is the action that she does? You guys don't know. Okay.
She did
She does,
upvasa.
she does
She didn't have
tapas.
food for a long time. I think she reduced herself to a skinny lady, I suppose.
She does a lot of tapas, including upvasa.
Yeah.
So in the process, Lord Shiva is of course interested because somebody is doing upvasa for to get him the husband. So one day he comes and tells Parvati that Shariram Adhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhana. Shariram, your body, Khalu is indeed Adhyam Dharma Sadhana, the first instrument of Dharma. What is he telling her?
First, take care of your body.
First, take care of your body. It is the first instrument for your Dharma. And therefore, by tormenting the body, Krishna says, Mam Chaiva, Mam Cha Eva. They are tormenting me also. And who am I? Anta Sharirastham. I am the person who's inside the body. That's Sakshi Chaitanya. So, Mam, Shankara defines. Mam is Tat Karma Buddhi Sakshi Bhutam. That Chaitanyam in the mind, which is one which enables you to do everything. So then there's a question. How can my tormenting the body torment Sakshi Chaitanyam? I'm surprised none of you asked this question. Krishna is saying, if you torment the body, you are tormenting me also. How does one, so torment here means causing pain to or weakening. So
Is it
tormenting,
aham
yeah,
Vaishwanara Bhutva? Is it so? It is as so when you don't provide food or whatever, so it torments
to whom?
the Lord inside, the Chaitanya in us.
Is Chaitanyam dependent on food?
No.
How does one torment?
Okay, I didn't get it. Sorry.
So I understand it as that this body, human body, has been given to us as a gift for us to be able to make use of it, realize, and for
If
moksha prapti. And so if we don't take care of the physical body, how are we going to progress on the spiritual
if
journey?
we, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
If
Go ahead,
we
go
if
ahead.
we torment our body, then in that case, say suppose we are depriving ourselves of food, then in that case, our attention will be more on what we are deprived of than anything else, and therefore we will not be able to concentrate on the deity or whatever we are going to do.
All good answers,
So
okay?
so indirectly,
Yeah. Shankara captures all this in one brilliant line. He says, Mat Anushasanam Akaranam Eva. By not following the instructions which I have given you. Absolutely brilliant. He says, if you don't follow my instructions, you are disregarding me, you are weakening me. And therefore, insult to the body is insult to the Lord. And that's why we say, Deho Devalaya Prakta. Body is the temple. Would you go and spit in a temple? No. Because spitting in the temple is insulting the Lord who lives there. But your body is the temple. The ultimate temple is your body. And therefore, if you insult your body, you are insulting whom? You are insulting the resident, right? Somebody who throws pan at your door is insulting you, not the door. Therefore, he says, Vithi, hey Arjuna, you should know all such devotees, Asura Nischaya, are of Asuric nature. They all are under Rajasic and Tamasic Shraddha. Now, Krishna doesn't say what is the motive. Krishna doesn't say that you can use the motive also, the intention also, as a basis for the classification, right? But we can easily derive that. Any type of puja for spiritual growth is what? Sattvic. Any type of puja for material growth is Rajasic. Any type of puja for harming others is Tamasic. So with this, the discussion on the three types of puja is over. And Shankara adds one line. He says, why does Krishna give this information? He says the information is given so that Vaidika students, Vaidikas, should be aware of the various factors involved in the three types of worship and should restrict themselves to Sattvika worship only. After that, this topic of puja is over, and he now moves to the topic of,
I have a question.
yes.
I don't know whether it's relevant. You told about the cutting of nose. Suddenly it reminded me of Bhagwan Vishnu offering the eye when he had one less kamal. Like it comes in the Mahimna Stotra.
Hmm.
So like it's Leela for them. I don't know how to. I mean, you just said of nose and it reminded me of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, you can take it anyway. But the point is, all these examples are to illustrate tamasic behavior.
Okay.
You have to be able to understand that. At least the one who explains has to say that this is an example of tamasic behavior. It doesn't help.
Right.
Acharya ji, one tiny thing is worshipping Lakshmi ji also Rajasic worship.
If you ask for money, yes.
No, if we're not asking for anything, like we are as a routine, we are like
If you are not
worshipping
asking for anything, it is Nishkama Sankalpa.
on Deepavali, like we all worship Lakshmi ji and Ganesha.
Yeah, if it is Nishkama Sankalpa, you're asking for Chitta Shuddhi, even if you have not asked.
Okay.
And therefore it is Sattvic.
Okay. Thank you.
One more question from me,
Yes,
Raviji.
please. Yes, please, Sudhir.
We normally, when some elderly person dies, we do some puja after the death. So for 10 days or 11 days, it is like that. And then when Sankalpa is being made, the priest tells us that now your uh, beloved one who has passed away, he is getting into the Preta Yoni. So is that a Tamasika puja?
No, the meaning of Preta
The-
there would be different. It's probably just a spiritual body,
Okay.
ghost, not the Preta in as defined by Shankara. No,
Okay.
yeah. So that many people they don't really have not studied these things, so they use the words commonly come to them.
Okay.
So you have to take Preta there a subtle body. So they are
So,
your what he's saying is subtle body is departed.
okay. Okay. So that pinda, which is put as a representative of the body which has left. So that Brahmande and Pinde, I mean that concept is being visualized at the
No,
time of
no. If you remember
that puja.
what we are discussing in Chandogya, the
Huh.
Pancha Mahayagna.
Yeah.
So there is a whole travel, and
Okay.
during the travel, the body should have something to eat. Your ancestors should not go hungry.
Okay.
That is why the offering of water and food.
Okay.
So you are supplying the food and water until the time that he gets another body, and then his mother or whoever supplies the food.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Raviji.
Okay. So we look at verse number 7. Aharastvapi sarvasya
Aharastvapi sarvasya
trivido bhavati priyah
त्रिविधो
bhavati
प्रियः
priyaha
yajnastapastatha danam
yajnastapasthatha danam
tesham bhedam imam shrunu.
tesham vedam imam shruno.
So tu is ahara, tu api. So tu means this is now a different topic from the previous topic, which was Shraddha. So the tu is a delineator. It says the topic has now changed. Aharaha sarvasya priyaha. The food sarvasya priyaha, which everybody likes. Api also Trivedaha bhavati can be divided into three. And similarly, tatha yajnaha, yajnaha can be divided into three. Tapaha can be divided into three. Dhanam can be divided into three. So, Shrunu, listen to me. Tesham imam bhedam, about these divisions, the three divisions. Shrunu means hear from me the divisions. So, he has introduced food, yajna, tapaha, and charity. And what are the divisions? Okay. So Krishna has answered the question on Shraddha, right? Because the question was Shraddha. What is Arjuna's question? What is the Shraddha of a person who doesn't know the rules of Shastra but still he worships with faith? So that question has been answered. But as I said, Shraddha is not just about the worship alone. Shraddha is reflected in your whole lifestyle. And therefore, Krishna wants to convey the idea that if you want to know the Shraddha of a person, his entire lifestyle reflects it, not just the pujas which he does. And therefore, he adds these topics: ahara, food, yajnaha, dhanam, charity, and tapaha, austerities. And again, he says three, so you have to remember that these three are what? Sattva,
Rajasic,
Rajas,
tamasic.
and Tapas. And then in his commentaries are very beautiful. In his commentary, Shankara introduces this verse by saying that the food liked by these people, by generally in general all people, is classified into three categories. For what purpose? Not for academic purposes. Either the purpose is very practical. You should avoid tamasic food. You should reduce rajasic food, and you should gradually shift completely over to sattvika food. His commentary is very practical. It's not for you to know that food is of three types. It's for you to implement in your life by moving away from rajasic and tamasic food and ultimately shifting only to sattvika food. And the word tu api here means in addition to the devatas and the tapas, a person can be a person's shraddha can be known by other things like yajnaha, tapaha, and dana. Classifications are trivida bhavati, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. And therefore, these are the four important qualifications for the seeker. And he says, Shunu tesham imam vedam. I will tell you in detail about these qualifications. Please listen carefully. Shunu. Okay. Verse number 8. Ayus sattva balarogyah
आयुस्तत्त्वबलायोग्यः
sukha priti vivardhanaः
सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनः
rasya snigna sthira hridya
रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरहृद्या
rasya snigdha sthira hridya
रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरयुक्ता
ahara satvika priyaः.
आहारः सात्विकप्रियाः
So having said that, food can be divided into three. He immediately starts to talk about Sattvika Priyaha, the food liked by Sattvika people. Aharaha Sattvika Priyaha. Sattvika people like the following food. And then Ayuhu, so you have to break it up. Ayuhu, Sattvaha, Balaha, Arogya, Sukhaha, Preeti, Vivardhanaha. Okay, we'll come to all that. And then Rasyaha, delicious. Snigdhaha, slightly oily, not dry. Sthiraha, nourishing. Hridyaha, pleasing. Okay, now the importance of food is mentioned not only here, it's mentioned in the Upanishads also. In fact, Chandogya Upanishad says that water nourishes prana, annam nourishes mind. Just like the ghee and the oil nourishes the vak indriya, the tongue. So here also the importance of food and drinks are being mentioned. So in our tradition, see the idea of all this that even the most natural of all your activities can be viewed as a spiritual sadhana, right? You know, for example, the most natural activity is what? Breathing. But breathing itself, our culture has turned into a sadhana. What is the verse which tells you that? Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter. Turning breathing into sadhana is mentioned there. Apane juhvati pranam, prane panam tatha pare. Prana apana gati drudva, pranayama parayanaha. Right? This is called turning breathing into pranayama. It is spiritual sadhana. In fact, while doing pranayama, you can mentally chant the name of the Lord. You know, so that is called a particular name. It's got a particular name. Sagarbha pranayama. Pranayama. Chanting the name of the Lord while doing pranayama has a particular name. Sagarbha pranayama. Anyway, let's come back to eating. So after breathing, the most natural activity is eating. And therefore here, traditionally, we convert eating into a spiritual sadhana. And for that, it has to be practiced with a particular proper attitude. And again, we saw in the 15th chapter, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashitaha. The Lord in my stomach is Vaishvanaraha. And whenever I'm eating, I have to first offer it to the Lord. And we called it what? Prana Agnihotra. So breathing becomes pranayama when done with the right attitude. Eating becomes prana agnihotram when done deliberately with the correct attitude. And therefore, ahara yajna is a very important spiritual sadhana. And to classify that, what would we consider? Source of food, first one. Where it comes from, who cooks the food, is all very important. In fact, you may remember, some of you may remember that a lot of our ancestors, they would eat only in the house. Why is that so? Because Shastram says somewhere that when the food is eaten or received to be eaten, the papam and punyam of the person who is cooking the food, it also comes along with that food. Therefore, when you go to a restaurant, you don't know, right? Whether the cook is negative, positive, spiritual, non-spiritual, spiritual, asuric. So all of us can get this sort of papam. And this sort of papam can pollute the mind and the body. Right? And that is why in your daily life, you unknowingly pick up lots of papam. Which is why whenever you have a bath, what do you say? Gange cha yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalasmin Sannidam Kuru. Right? You pour water uttering the name of the Lord. And therefore, even the normal, practice of bathing, you have converted into a spiritual sadhana. Not only the water will wash your body, but the water will also wash your mind. The papam is also washed away. So this is a more comprehensive verse, so I don't think we have the time to complete it. So the next class, we will start it all over again from start. Any questions? Okay, so then we'll stop for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience. Om.
Thank you very much.